November 12th, 2019 will inevitably go down as a monumental day in the history of the Walt Disney Company. But beyond that, the launch of Disney Plus opens a new chapter for how we experience this iconic storytelling, and marks one of the biggest challenges and most disruptive changes to the entire entertainment industry. As more than ever, it's clear that the streaming wars have now begun. So let's dive into what this means for the future of Disney, Netflix, and the rest of the competition. Up next. This video is sponsored by Mickey Travels, a platinum level authorized Disney vacation planner which can take the hassle out of all of your vacation planning. So visit the link in the description box to get your free quote today. Hi there Waltoneers, I'm Jack and this is of course DSNY Newscast, and for today I'm going to be giving my full, comprehensive, proper review of Disney Plus as it launched around a week ago. And so we're going to answer the question whether Disney Plus is good value for money, and also talk about the areas in which Disney Plus could be plussed. But before all of that, we've really got to explore the circumstances that brought about the creation of Disney Plus. As it was in 2012 that the entire media industry was beginning to wake up to their new reality that Netflix had ushered in, as Netflix had successfully moved from DVD rentals to an online streaming company, and thus became the £800 gorilla within the marketplace. So in December of 2012, Disney, being the ever-pragmatic company that it is, announced that they had signed a new deal with Netflix that would bring their exclusive catalogue of new and old content to the service for 3 years, beginning in 2016 and ending in 2019. However, in the 4 years before that deal came into effect, it became excruciatingly clear that if bolder moves weren't made, then Disney would eventually just become another single contributor amongst many to the Netflix behemoth, as essentially Disney's deal with Netflix was increasing the overall brand value of Netflix whilst diminishing the control that Disney had to set the price of what they felt their products were worth. But then in 2016, big publications like Fortune and CNBC started to advocate that Disney should buy Netflix, although it became clear very quickly that Netflix was not for sale to anyone, be it Disney, Apple, or Amazon. So instead, Disney announced in 2017 that they will be launching their very own streaming service by the end of 2019, and so Disney Plus was born. Now at the time, many questioned this move, suggesting that buying Netflix was a much better option. But if you distilled Netflix down to its core assets, its main value is in the streaming technologies and content algorithms. As you see, pretty much as soon as any major Hollywood studio bought Netflix, inevitably all the other movie studios would eventually pull their content anyways, which would mean whoever bought Netflix would have paid an inflated price for those core technologies. Therefore, Disney CEO Bob Iger knew he could find these technologies elsewhere, but it would be an extremely risky move, as in 2016 Disney acquired a minority stake in BAMTech Media, and then increased that to a 75% controlling stake in 2017, that it became extremely apparent that this was one half of the Disney Plus puzzle, as BAMTech offered the core technologies, content algorithms, and robust streaming network infrastructure to power new services, such as ESPN+, HBO Go, and the WWE Network. But then we come to the other part of the puzzle, and that was content, as obviously Disney already had a huge library and amazing content creators, but it needed more scope as part of that offering, which is what made the acquisition of 21st Century Fox so interesting, as Fox brought with it a controlling stake in Hulu, which is a second streaming service for Disney, and importantly, entry into emerging markets like India with Star. So overall, in the last 8 years alone, Disney has transformed itself from almost becoming just another content contributor to now becoming a major distributor within the direct-to-consumer streaming market, fully equipped and ready to compete with Netflix. However, that now brings us to reviewing Disney Plus, as up until now it's been a high-risk, high-reward strategy that's been several years in the making. But all of this is ultimately going to rest upon how the service performs in the hands of a consumer. And so first of all, let's address the launch, as we've known since April that the launch day would be November 12th. But clearly Disney attempted to offset some of the demand and slowly ramp up the server requests by launching the service at 6 AM Eastern Time and 3 AM Pacific. However, not long into that launch window, many users took to social media to air their grievances that they were having login issues. Now this problem problems seem to stem from the server authentication system becoming overwhelmed, instead of that of the raw streaming servers that provides the content. So Disney did have the capacity to stream, but they underestimated the requests to log in all at the exact same time. But nevertheless, this was an all too predictable stumble at the beginning. And to be honest, I don't think this should really be a cause for concern whatsoever, as services like Netflix and Amazon have the benefit of years to gradually introduce users to their platforms, whereas Disney had an insurmountable task ahead of them that was rectified relatively quickly within the course of the launch day. But then after all of that, the masses descended onto the platform and began streaming all of that content, and it really proved that the decision to acquire BAMTech was key to the launch day success, as the servers remained robust and there were no real complaints of any buffering or streaming issues. However, the launch day problem surrounding the login issues is going to be something that HBO Max and NBC Universal's Peacock services will also have to deal with, as consumer expectations and usage has changed dramatically from that of the early days of Netflix. But now let's review the actual streaming service features. And first of all, I've got to say that even if I wasn't a Disney fan, which obviously I am, I would have to give credit to Disney for nailing so much of the interface and delivering a stable, reliable and consistent app experience across multiple platforms, all on day one, which is a difficult feat in itself. Then we have the user interface, which is kind of reminiscent of the Apple TV UI, with rows of sliding icons that make it navigationally simplistic, yet beautifully designed, with this carried across every single app platform. However, before we get to some of my criticisms, I just want to highlight something that I haven't really seen mentioned all too much, and that's the fantastic additional content that you receive within the Extras tab for most of the titles, which includes behind the scenes footage, exclusive interviews, original trailers, and mini documentaries that could only previously be found on DVDs and Blu-rays before. So with Disney Plus offering all of this, as well as Ultra HD and 4K streams for that standard price of $6.99, in my opinion, it puts it heads and shoulders above the competition. And the other thing that has stood out to me during my extensive usage of the service this past week is that it definitely seems that the recommended content algorithms seem to be a lot better than that of Netflix and Amazon. Now this is probably because the catalogue of content won't be changing all too much, as Netflix and Amazon has to cycle content on and off the platform on a monthly basis based on licensing agreements. But it could also be that Disney Plus isn't trying to hard sell you on their original content like Netflix is desperately doing at the moment, as Netflix knows that huge parts of their streaming library will be Thanos snapped in the next couple of years. But then we come to my criticisms, which should be pretty easy to resolve, but they do need to be addressed as soon as possible, with the first being the fact that the service does not have a continue watching list or slider, similar to what Netflix and Amazon offers, which is a simple yet essential feature that quite honestly I can't believe was overlooked during all of the internal testing that Disney Plus must have gone through before the launch. And then to add to that, when I'm watching the series, frustratingly, it doesn't give me an indicator for which episodes that I've already viewed, but Disney has recently added a resume button which takes you back to the previous point in the series which you're watching from, which is a step in the right direction, but of course all of these things could be addressed fairly easily within an app update. But then we come to what I think is the biggest problem facing Disney Plus, which I think may damage the retention rates and consumer stickiness if it isn't addressed quickly. As importantly, Disney Plus is not adopting the Netflix model of dropping a whole series in one day, thus creating the infamous Netflix binge. But instead, Disney Plus is going in a traditional weekly episodic delivery direction, which I actually think is better for the health of not only the platforms, but also the viewers. As binging content was unique and trend-setting at first, but there is a collective conversation within the community that is inevitably lost when 10 episodes of a popular show like Stranger Things is released all at the same time. So despite liking this new episodic approach more, unfortunately it hasn't been implemented very well within the app. As take for example The Mandalorian, which is clearly the big new series that is meant to demonstrate underestimate the kind of incredible original content that is being produced for the service. But for all of those who love the first episode and can't wait for the second, there is no scheduling information on when the next episode will be released on the series preview screen. Although Disney Plus did send out a notification saying that the new episode was available, but this is not a great approach, as many users might have notifications turned off. And so for all of those people who signed up for the 7-day free trial, users really need to know what is coming down the pipeline to keep them invested, and most importantly, so that it converts them to monthly paying subscribers. However, after doing some digging for myself, here's the schedule list for when the episodes of The Mandalorian will be available on Disney Plus, which could easily be displayed on the preview screen for the series, like we see in this mock-up which I've created, and perhaps even include the option for notifications and the exact time for when the episodes will become available. Then other critiques would be that the service has no watch history, and despite having a great watch list feature, once you view something, it is not automatically removed from the watch list, or even marked as viewed, which will get confusing fairly quickly. And also, despite Disney Plus having the availability to download content for offline viewing, there needs to be greater optimization over the file size. As you can see here, that the time to download a 20-minute episode of That 70s Show on Netflix is much faster than that of downloading a 20-minute episode of The Simpsons on Disney Plus. But there is also a lot of room for new features, such as ratings and reviews, search by actor, director, or even character, and even viewing achievements would be nice, which is actually something that my YouTuber friend Disney Dan has set up on a work-in-progress independent site called dplusunlocked.com, and I'll leave a link to that in the description box below. So when reviewing the actual service offerings, I feel that Disney Plus is an extremely strong competitor straight out of the gate, but it does have a lot of room for growth and a couple of areas for easy fixes that will make it even better than Netflix in terms of the features that it offers. But then that brings us to the content, and well, that's the area where Disney Plus really shines, as there's a monumental difference when comparing the competition to that of Disney Plus, as Netflix, Amazon and Apple are all first and foremost technology companies, and thus they are brand new to creating compelling original content. Whereas the Walt Disney Company has nearly a 100-year history of the very best storytelling across multiple mediums that undeniably has created some of the most iconic content of the 20th century and beyond. Therefore, it may not seem like a fair fight, but with Apple, Amazon and Netflix all entering the content creation business, they will now need to compete at an extremely high level. And to do this, all three companies have been investing billions of dollars in attracting the best storytellers to their platforms. And despite Netflix and Amazon having hits like Stranger Things and The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, the underlying issue is that these companies are extremely vulnerable because they have an extremely shallow catalogue of genuinely great content. And even though Apple TV Plus might have Steven Spielberg and Oprah Winfrey on board, importantly they don't have the streaming rights to the legacy content that made Spielberg and Winfrey and all the rest of the storytellers who have come to Apple TV Plus household names. Whereas Disney Plus has an immense streaming library, that's only real competition will be HBO Max and NBC Peacock that will launch in 2020 and 2021 respectively. But even then, it's very hard to see anyone beating Disney Plus that has the inherent brand value and trust that comes with Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm, National Geographic and Fox all creating original content for the platform. Which actually brings us nicely on to the quality of that content. As it's been stated by Disney CEO Bob Iger that the directive to all of the studios under Disney is to create content for the new streaming platform on the same level as that of the theatrical releases. And nowhere can this be seen more than in Star Wars The Mandalorian, which reportedly had a $10 million budget per episode. And you can really see every penny in the end product. Now this is clearly the poster child show of Disney Plus at the moment, showcasing the level of exclusive content that the platform will offer. Considering just how important the success of Disney Plus is to the future of the Walt Disney Company,
With all of that pressure on its shoulders, The Mandalorian delivers in a big way. As I've now watched the first 2 episodes and can easily say that, to me, it feels more like Star Wars than anything produced since the original trilogy. And that's really not meant to be dismissing any Star Wars installments since 1983, but instead it's really meant to highlight just how good this show is, as its use of physical props, alien creatures, special effects, stunning vistas, brilliant cinematography, and the bold move for long periods of screen time without any discernible dialogue, while still progressing the story, which is something that only masters of entertainment can achieve. So in many ways you can already see from those 2 episodes that The Mandalorian is Game of Thrones level for Disney+. Now in contrast to that, I've watched 4 episodes of Apple's flagship The Morning Show, and an episode of See and also For All Mankind. And despite the big budget productions that these shows clearly are, they all seem to lack some authenticity and real engagement, which proves that money alone doesn't create compelling content. And then giving credit to Netflix and Amazon, they've had some huge Emmy Award winning hits in the past. Whereas Disney has a slew of original offerings from all of their multiple studios, chief among them being Marvel Studios, which will have all of these new series coming exclusively to Disney Plus within the next couple of years. And this is a much easier sell to the consumer, as these shows will be building the worlds in which these characters and brands currently exist, instead of having to create whole new brands like Apple, Amazon, and Netflix are all facing each time they commission a new original series. Then we come to the other original content like The Imagineering Story, which is a documentary series that plays to the Disney die-hard fans like myself, which also sets the bar extremely high for non-fiction content, as Disney Plus will have a diverse range of content rather than the almost laughable amount of stand-up specials that are being commissioned by Netflix to help pad out their original content library. And then we come to the first 2 exclusive movies, which are Lady and the Tramp and Noelle. And first of all, I would say that Lady and the Tramp could actually have performed fairly well within theatrical release, if it wasn't for the comical dog catcher villain that reduced the quality of the film greatly, as it skewed the movie too much toward a younger audience, unlike the recent live action remakes like Beauty and the Beast and The Lion King that have mass appeal to multiple generations. But the CGI within the movie was on the same level as that of The Jungle Book or Dumbo, and could certainly have made a respectable box office return if the story was tweaked and then released. And then when talking about Noelle, it's important to understand that this is essentially Disney competing against Netflix's holiday offerings. And in my opinion, it's on par with something like The Christmas Chronicles and is much better than that of The Christmas Prince, as Noelle's script is strong and the set design is pretty great when they're at the North Pole, and elicits the same feeling that the Tim Allen Santa Claus movie did. But when the movie goes to Phoenix, Arizona for some weird reason, it loses a lot of that charm, and the fake sun yellow lighting throughout was very distracting. But with both of those, they are definitely not Disney Channel movies. If it weren't for 1 or 2 things being improved, I could see both of them having successful theatrical runs. And that is probably the biggest issue facing the original movie content on Disney+, as the notion of creating movies for any streaming platform is somewhat new and is met with trepidation over the quality not being as high, whereas TV shows have been proven to be better adjusted for the streaming services, as in the minds of the audiences, that type of storytelling can only really live on streaming platforms. Now, the dogma surrounding the exclusive online movies could easily be erased if Disney took something designed for a theatrical run and let it run on Disney Plus at the same time as it was out in the cinemas, which would be taking a hit to the bottom line, but it would also demonstrate that Disney Plus has first run top quality movies exclusive on the service.
And so lastly, let's answer the question that so many of you will be asking, and that is not only how does Disney Plus stack up against the competition, but most importantly, is Disney Plus the Netflix killer? And well, the short answer is no, but it's way more complicated than all of that. As over the past couple of years, cord cutting has been on a steady rise, and almost mirroring that trend has been the launch of even more streaming services, which has created a fragmented content environment that is both beneficial and also a hindrance to the consumer. As the main downside is the complexity and hassle of having to subscribe to multiple services and then use specific apps to find certain content, which can be confusing and difficult to manage. But the key word there is manage, as it also brings the empowerment of choice, which will inevitably drive competition and benefit the users. Therefore, this fragmentation winds back the clock on the cable bundling model and puts the consumer back in control, letting them decide what really matters to them. But because of that factor, it's going to be more important than ever to evaluate which service gives you the most value for money. As at the time of recording, Netflix is by far the clear winner in terms of content, as it offers 4,500 movie titles that are all streamable without the additional purchasing requirements like we see on Prime Video, and where Hulu may offer more content, it's also ad supported at that pricing. But on the other side, where Netflix loses, is that the $12.99 tier is only for 2 HD streams, whereas Disney Plus offers 4 simultaneous streams of 4K and HDR content for nearly half that price. And in my opinion, if I were to be asked which offers the most value for money, I would have to say that it's the Disney streaming bundle of Disney Plus, Hulu and ESPN Plus for $12.99 per month. But then to assess the market, we also have to look at future trends, as despite Netflix having 148 million paying subscribers around the world, it is facing a markable decline, with all of the major movie studios announcing the eventual debut of their own services. And then that brings us to what will be the most important factor in the entire streaming war, as if anything was proven by the 10 million signups that Disney Plus boasted after day one, it's that the reputation for quality content and the established worlds that these new original offerings will exist within are clearly going to be a bigger factor in consumer appeal than price and features. And this is something that Netflix, Amazon, Apple, HBO, CBS and NBC are all going to struggle with, as none of their content is as synonymous with the brand of the streaming platform as anything under the Disney Plus umbrella. As there are possible exceptions like Game of Thrones and HBO and Stranger Things and Netflix, but on the whole, Disney Plus will be playing within the expanded, well-known and beloved cinematic universes that other competitors will be insufficient in doing in such an integrated way. And so to conclude, with the rollout of Disney Plus worldwide in the coming year, and with Disney's aim of 90 million subscribers by 2024, based off the extremely strong start, I'll make the prediction right now that when looking back on November 12, 2019, Disney Plus will mark a true turning point for not only Netflix, Amazon and the Walt Disney Company, but also the way that we consume our media, as I feel that the streaming wars will inevitably change the entire entertainment industry within the next decade. But now, it's over to you, the Waltoneers. I would like to know, what are your thoughts and opinions on Disney Plus after using it for just a week? And also, where are the areas that you would like to see the streaming service improve overall? And if you could bring any exclusive original content to the service, then what would it be and why? And importantly, don't forget to put the timestamp for where the hidden Mickey appeared somewhere within this video, along with your suggestion or your comment, to be in with a chance to win one of these official Waltoneer DSNY Newscast enamel pins. And congratulations to this Waltoneer here for winning this suggestion from the previous video, where we're talking all about the Ratatouille courtyard construction over at Epcot. And so that's it for today, so be sure to go ahead and subscribe down below if you're new to this channel, hit that notification icon so that you always receive an update whenever we release new videos, which is usually twice a week. And also, if you've enjoyed this full comprehensive review of Disney Plus, then be sure to give this video a massive thumbs up, as it really does help this channel out. And I've been Jack, you've been you, and I'll see you real soon.